Greetings and welcome to OG Foundation, capital of the sovereign state of Elodium. I am your host, Sovereign Non of Elodium, and this is episode 1 of season 12. The main project right now is building this Molly Stark tower behind me, and so you can see the current state of it. I got the walls started in the preseason, and that arch has mortar on it. This arch is just kind of metal framed in, and you can kind of see the shape coming together. Today I've started connecting this whole situation to the flying buttress with remesh. So from up here, there's all sorts of noises, sirens and dogs and stuff. But you can see what I'm working on here. I'm going to add a piece of remesh there and a piece of remesh here. I just did this one in lath. And so this is the starting point, and this week a lot of this metal work should get done on these connecting arches, and then mortar to follow it up as the weather is permitting. So that's all for today. We've got Sophia on the left and her little sister right next door, Strident. And right next to Strident is Starbuck. And then Odin on the right. Each of them got a handful of grass as the boys are grazing at the end of the day. Got some good metal work and mortar work done. I'll give you a shot of the fresh mortar work in the morning. Great horsies. If they come up to me, they get a treat. These guys all came over, they all got a handful of grass. So yesterday I got some good coverage on all of this after doing a bunch of metal work. Got good coverage on all of this section here. It was really rainy, but I was able to sort of dodge the rain. And it's raining again today, but I'm gonna do underlayer of all that and some other areas and some others where I got rid of forms. And then you can see over here how that first Merlon is now cut in, as well as the Cornell next to it. So I just wanted to give you a quick update of before the mortar for today on Saturday. So after the underlayer, I was able to also kind of smooth out the geometry a little bit and just kind of clean it up. And I guess it's kind of hard to see with the lighting against the bright sky. I got an undercoat on all that, and then starting to work my way up on that arch, and I got almost up to the peak and the undercoat there. And then that Merlon is pretty good now. Took the form off and got the other side of the Merlon, and just a tiny bit on the stairs. And then there's rain coming in like an hour or two, so most everything I did was on a vertical face or an underneath face, so it should be all good, even in rain starting and then heavy rain in like 2-3 hours. Fingers crossed. Rained all day today, just about all day yesterday. I was able to get one batch of mortar in yesterday along with some metal work. Today kept me inside with cold rain all day, but it just cleared in the last hour. So after over 2 inches of rain, I was able to get one batch of mortar on, and I'll just let the boys out of the citadel so they can do a little bit of grazing. Monday morning, yesterday I was able to do one batch of mortar, put a lot of it over here, and then extending this arch. Today I'm going to work a lot on this arch. Right now I'm connecting a piece of remesh to that rebar arch up into that corner to start to get that, and then I'm thinking I'm going to see if I can bridge this entire arch today, and yeah, we'll see how that goes, and then do some more metal work probably. And then also making progress on the stairs over there and the wall as well. Here you can see how I bent the remesh and some of the lath back to be in line with the other wall, and then used pieces of rebar to kind of pin it up against the wall so that I could mortar it and then get it to connect. So later today, once that's a little bit better cured, I can reposition the rebar and stuff and then continue to make progress on that, and then keep working that arch up there. And then you can see where the remesh ends with its bend there, and over there where I'll still have to bend it. And because this is arch, this is bending back, I kind of am working my way. So like a lot of the remesh will stick out up where that panel is, and that's just up there to kind of adjust the arch a little bit, to put a little weight on the peak. Anyways, I'll be bending that, getting it kind of as straight as possible today. Up here you can see how I use those pieces of rebar to tie the remesh off of. So I got the first piece up there to connect with that, and got the next piece over in that corner, and now I just need one more piece up over the top, and then one more piece over there, and most of it will be covered and some sort of shape will result. Now with the third piece of remesh on, so I have to cut it and even out some of the bends and stuff, and there's a couple gaps, but just one piece at a time. I'm gonna put that last piece in over there now. And now with that one in, this dome is pretty much covered. There's only minimal tying because it's hard to get at from underneath, so when I can get at it from above, it'll make it easier. And then when I add the lath, it'll help to even out the transitions between the remesh, because in some places they don't overlap too much. I just have to cut that one when I'm up there. And then I think the next thing for today is the mortar up on top as much as I can get on the first arch, and I'll have to make it strong enough so I can access everything from up above. So with one more batch, I got coverage on that, and then on those stairs over there, first coat on the full pads. I'm hoping that the shape of this is good. I adjust it a little bit, and that'll be that. These two plum trees are just starting to flower, and these two are two cross-pollinating strains. This one seems like it's already burst its leaves and maybe skipped its flowering stage, and then this one's just starting to flower, and those over there are too, but this one's the cross-pollinator for these ones, so it's possible that these ones, which made so many plums this last year, they might not do so well this year because of how the blooms are going. But then these ones should do really good as long as the pollinators get moving. I don't see any right now, but the next couple of days... Oh wait, what's that? There's a bee right there. Unless that's a fly. Anyways, plums are getting going. Everything's starting to shoot. This is how much rain there was in the last couple of days. About 2.5, almost 3 inches. That was empty, and it's just been sitting out in the rain. Where you go, bite? So Tuesday morning, and the arch got coverage on the whole thing. Today I'll be doing the undercoat. It's a lot easier to get to the undercoat on this one than it is over there. And then I'll be extending the metal, the remesh, and the lath up there. Got another piece of lath up there to extend it. And just because it doesn't have rebar up in that top dome, I have to go slowly on it. And then this part of this metal work took a lot of time, but I got that to connect, and right here where that rebar is and that remesh is bent, that will be the edge of the tower. And all of this metal work to tie in these circles, and working on these stairs. It'll still be a while before the stairs can actually support my weight. Getting this circle in, I think I'll bend down the lip just a little bit to give it some extra strength, and then I've got to coat the underneath of the stairs really well, make a little bit of kind of arching cement underneath before I'll actually want to stand on it, because right now if I stand on it, it'll break for sure. And then gotta keep stepping these stairs up as well. So that's the state of things currently. Probably get some more lath on over there. Cut that. I got that window completely cut in and bent on the left, and then this one here is the last one I've got to cut in and bend the remesh around it, and then be working my way up. So on Saturday, I got some undercoating over here and widening that arch. There's a second coat up on the top on all of it, and then got a good bit over here of fresh stuff to extend this dome, and then did a good bit of form work over here, cutting in the windows and then bringing the walls up higher and setting up a couple of forms there for the next sections. And a lot of metal work today, which is primarily cutting metal ties and tying the lath to the remesh, to the rebar, and getting it all kind of tight with metal ties tying it all together. So the shape is still kind of coming together, but tomorrow, hopefully if weather permitting, I'll be able to get mortar on a lot of this metal work that I prepped for today. There's at least a batch worth. This girl, she's surrounded. She's the only one down here. Angari's watching her back. She's sticking close to the goats. Who is this? I think it's Emma. She's shiny green and blue. Got emerald shiny shine going on for Emma. Everybody else went up. Maybe Vangari is going up, but she wants to hang out down here. Getting the post-work day grazing in. The first dandelion of the season. Question answered. Goats like dandelions. Go on, boys. We gotta go get a package. Package time. Come on, boys. We gotta go get a package. Package time. Woo! Boys, let the packages. Come on, boys. Come on, man. What you doing? What you doing, brother? We gotta go get package. So by the end of the day on Wednesday, I got an undercoating on this whole arch. So it's strong enough. I was up on top today to tie off some of that metal. And I kind of protected this antler here and working around it to structurally support that. And then also got another undercoat over here, which on that section. And then a good bit more work on these circles and some coverage on that form there, and doing a lot of design work, as well as on the stairs over here. They've now got, oh boy, I've got these wires kind of adjusting these circles, and I just jumped right into that, almost clotheslined myself, but it was okay. So these now have at least 3 coats, so there's an underneath and an above. So tomorrow I should be able to walk on these, but I'll still be very ginger about it because I'll want to add another coat at least underneath, and then do what I was saying, kind of like bend the lip a little bit. But I should be able to use those to get up there and kind of work on that metal work tomorrow, and we'll see where we go from there. Thursday morning, last day of this weekly episode of episode 1. Sitting on top of the one arch right now, which has 3 layers on it. The initial one over the top and the one under layer. I was standing on it after 2, but after 3 it's solid. And right here what I'm showing you is, because of the way that the remesh, you can probably see the geometry is not smooth on the various pieces of remesh. And I was trying to get away with not putting rebar in this dome part, and also because the pieces of remesh have gaps in them right there, they didn't fully overlap. It led to inconsistencies in the shape, so I had to add this piece of rebar basically to lift up this middle section and to push down over there. So now that rebar evens out the arch the way that I want it, and now I'm ready for another 1.5 to 2 feet in places of mortar to apply up here in the next batch, and I'm gonna get to that now. And you can see on this side there was a bit of pressure going down when I was applying the rebar, so I made sure to put the end of it just over where there's overlapping remesh, where there'll be the most kind of strength, where it won't deform it, and then it kind of arches out and then arches in, so that it starts at this strong point closest to where the mortar is. It extends out to the weakest point, and then it goes back down to a strong point. So I should be able to get a lot more coverage today. And then on this section, which you can see like the difference between the raw cement above and the smoother cement below. So this section here has just the 1 coat above and the 1 coat below. So I'll get a nice and wet kind of smear over the top to smooth that out so that that section has 3 as well. And then I'll be able to, because there's kind of on the arch section from there up to there-ish, that'll be strong enough to support my weight as well. Then I can work on also integrating this second piece of rebar after that. Or I might even have to prep that before doing the mortar. We'll see. Another thing to show you, so this piece of rebar, which is vertical, that's just temporary. So I tied it to that arch down there and then this arch out here to bend this remesh to get into a straight line, because otherwise it was bending out this direction. Duct tape on the fingertips to work with metal ties, and to push that arch down so that I can get the bend of it closer to the corner of that wall. And so that helped me to get this mortar on, and then at some point I'll take that piece of rebar out because it's not meant to stay in there, but I can just use it to bend the shapes. And then over here I extended the remesh down to be able to start integrating that piece of rebar into the side wall. The valley there is kind of hard to get, so I'll probably just get an initial batch to kind of bond the lath and the bottom of the valley in, and then wait a day before I add more down into that valley. And then another piece of rebar I added is over here to tie it into this arch, and that'll give that whole, it'll be structural to help bear the weight, so it's not all kind of above the fridge, which has structural issues because there's insulation behind it. So I'll be able to build kind of like a little column along this side where there's the one piece of rebar in there already, and then the second one will help to bear the weight of the arch when all is said and done. So I'll get some mortar on that as well. And you can see here how these two pieces of rebar are pinning that lath up against the existing wall, which will get it nice and close so that I can get some wet lath or wet mortar on there to work that bond. And yeah, and then you can also see one last thing is, because of the way that it arches, you can see that there's a break in the lath right there. So I have to cut it. It makes a little triangle. There's another triangle up there that I already kind of put a piece of lath in, but because of the arch, at times you can cut the lath to conform to the geometry of the remesh. The lath will stretch some, but it'll only stretch so much. So without those cuts, I wouldn't have been able to get the lath up to the remesh because of the geometry of it. And then you can use the tension from those geometries to help to even the things out. But the way that it all turned out, I required that piece of rebar in there. And you can see from down here, it looks kind of funny. You couldn't really see that bend from up there, but I had to start with the sides, get the sides in, and then kind of push it forward that direction to get, because the rebar arch was about 6 inches above the remesh, so I had to push it forward and then pull the remesh up, and it'll all work out well when it's all done. So mortar time. So after just the one batch of mortar, I got this mortared in. I got really good coverage up there. All the drips I cleaned up and reused on the base over there. I got the start over here, and got it's hard to see from over here, but the double layer up there, as well as another coat underneath those stairs. And little pro tip, if you're doing lots of mortar, if you're not wearing long sleeves, right now I am, but duct tape cuffs are great to prevent chemical burns. You get chemical burns pretty fast doing a lot of mortar. So one thing I always have on hand, if I'm smart, is a spray bottle of vinegar, both to spray in the gloves, to spray on your hands afterwards, and that can neutralize the cement that you inevitably get on you one way or another, so that you don't get chemical burns, and those can be really pernicious and take a long time to heal, especially when you keep applying more. So we're really happy with the first batch, and I'll be getting to some metal after, some egg feast. I'm gonna take my first steps on these stairs. Hopefully they don't break. Oh, that one didn't break. that one didn't break. And now I can get up here to work on this. But that's it for today's episode. I had to deal with some tenant turnover issues. And now it's low pressure and rain coming. So thanks for tuning in. See you next week.